G'day and welcome to Tea Vision, that is TV, where I'm going to try and talk about different teas with you. My name's Ryan Trainer and I'm a tea enthusiast. So just to give you a bit of the backstory, I was a coffee only drinker till a bit over 12 months ago when I finally decided to get off coffee altogether. Through a fundraiser, I went a month without drinking coffee and realised through the second and third week of the month that I really struggled without the coffee. I found I had headaches and just a real lack of energy. So when that month finished, I decided I wanted to stay off coffee, and so I replaced it with tea, mostly herbal teas, but also green teas, and I do have a bit of black teas as well. So all across the range. And so what I plan to do is each week do a video with you doing a sample of 3 different teas like I've got here today, drinking them, talking to you briefly about them, their flavour, what I think of them, and yeah, we'll just go through a whole range of different things. So the first one I've got here to share with you today is from TeaV I, which is an Australian company, started in Melbourne back in 1996, and it's grown in popularity majorly since then. 2014 they went global, and it's really got quite a following to the brand, I guess you could say. So a very popular shop. So the one I've got here today is the green rose tea, which obviously from the name you can tell is a green tea. Now, I'll be honest with you, most green teas, it took me a while to get used to them. I do quite like them now, but they do have what I would call quite a grassy taste and even smell to them. So they do take a bit of getting used to. That's why the green rose tea I really love, because it has a lot of other flavours in it. So the ingredients in green tea are obviously in the green rose tea is obviously green tea, and it's also got currants, which has the anti-caking agency of sunflowers. It's also got pawpaw bits, rose petals, mango, sugar, artificial flavouring, and cornflower petals. So I've got a bit of a sample here to show you, which we can hopefully get on the camera. I'll just bring this down a bit. So as you can see there, we've got the blue, which is the cornflower petals, and then you can clearly see the rose petals, the red there, and the green is obviously the green tea itself. And then you've just got a few bits of currant, pawpaw, and the mango. So when you grab a pinch of it, you often don't even get the fruit and the currants per pinch, but it obviously has got the flavour throughout it. So I'm going to brew that up. I've already got some in the teapot here ready to go, and it's recommended to be brewed at 80 degrees. Now my kettle here tells me the temperature, which I'm aware doesn't come on most kettles, and if I'm honest, I don't always brew to the recommended temperatures. I often do just boil the kettle while I'm off doing things and then just come back to it whenever I'm ready. Now the brewing time for that one is 2 to 3 minutes, so we're actually going to sit that over to the side and come back to it after we've looked at our other 2 teas here. So the other 2 I've got are tea bags. So this one here is Twinings Detox Tea, which is one I normally have of an evening, sort of a end of the day tea. So it's sweet fennel, lemongrass and verbena. So it comes in the bigger box, as you can see, and then it's individually packaged in there. So Twinings is a London company which started back in the early 1700s, so quite an old company. And so it's made up of sweet fennel, which is 20% of it, lemongrass is 10%, lemon peel, burdock root, spearmint, ginger root, rooibos, lemon flavouring, lemongrass flavouring, and verbena is the 1% at the end, and basil flavouring. So quite a bit to this. Now I'm just going to boil that kettle back up because this one's recommended at 100 degrees. Tells you on the back there. Brew for 2 to 5 minutes and 100 degrees. Now, I often start drinking my tea before it brews for that long, to be honest, especially if I'm having like a few cups with the kettle, or just leaving the tea bag in it, and it's obviously going to get stronger as I go. Sometimes it's plain and simple in the morning, I don't have the time to be sitting around waiting basically. Alright, but we'll just give that one a little minute. Now the last one I'm going to talk about, which is one of my favourite types of tea, which is the rooibos, which the detox does have a small amount in. So this one here by Noranda, which is an Australian company, started in Queensland back in 1886. So they've been around a while. Now I love the rooibos because I do love the flavour of it, but I also love the fact it's got lots of trace element metals in it. So it's got iron, calcium, potassium, copper, magnesium, zinc, and also antioxidants in it. So it's a really healthy one. I'll probably do a video in the future doing a few different types of the rooibos root tea and just talking in more detail about the health benefits. One thing I am working on is I always have called it Rubio root, so I'm having to learn to call it rooibos. So I'm sorry if throughout the video I may call it that. Now, this one is a tea bag again, but they don't come individually wrapped. You just get a whole heap of them whammed in there. What is it? 50 tea bags, and it's only a few bucks from memory, so I reckon they're a pretty awesome deal. So we'll pour that one up. And that is one that I normally like to let brew for a bit. Beautiful smell. I should mention that one's got vanilla in it too, so vanilla adds to the smell. Beautiful smelling tea, that. Alright, so they're the three teas we're going to look at today. We'll head back over to the loose leaves of the rose green tea, or green rose, sorry, I think it's the proper name. So I didn't mention before, it does have a beautiful smell, obviously with the rose petals and all that through it. Unlike normal green tea, which as I said, I think smells a bit like grass. Just going to push his back a bit. This smells a lot nicer, and once it's brewed up, you can still smell that it is green tea, but yeah, it's got that extra bit of flavour to it. Now, I do like my teas once they've cooled down a little bit, which is why I'm sort of giving them a minute. I don't like them too hot, but the green rose, I find it one of the most refreshing drinks I think I have. I feel like it's hydrating me, and obviously I don't know scientifically whether it's hydrating me any more than a drink of water would, but I feel it's quite a hydrating and energizing drink. And there's something about tea in general that I feel healthy drinking it. So as I said, this doesn't have the same flavour as lots of green teas. It's got that sweetness added to it from the pawpaw and the mango and the added sugar. So it really makes it a lot easier to drink, I find. And even though it's sweeter, it's still quite a mild flavour. It's not really strong in green tea, and it's not really strong in sweetness, but I think they found a nice balance between the two so that you can taste both without being a really strong drink. The green tea is almost an aftertaste to it. It's sweet, and then you get the green tea. So yeah, that's the green rose tea from T2. As you can see, I've got quite a big container of it here. What are we, 250 grams, and I've nearly finished that. and I've had a container before that, so I drink quite a lot of that. It used to be the one I'd have every morning, but I often now have the rooibos root instead, which is what we'll try next. Let's get rid of that tea bag. Vacuum over and that mud out of the way. So I'll just tilt this down again here. You can see it's a very dark coloured tea. As dark as black tea, I would say. But as soon as you smell it, you can tell it's not black tea. With this one you do smell the vanilla a bit, but the rooibos root also has quite a unique smell of its own. I don't know even what to describe that to be like. And again, with the flavour of the rooibos root, it's really a taste of its own, smell of its own. It's really unique. I've loved it since I first ever tried it, which was actually with a T2 variety of it. So if you love your herbal teas, it's one I really recommend. Particularly, it's got the health benefits with all those trace metals. I think, obviously I'm no health expert, but for vegetarians that don't eat meat, I know zinc and calcium, magnesium, all those sorts of things are found in meats a lot, and I think they're things vegetarians and I guess vegans as well are quite often deficient in. So it's a really good tea, I reckon, for people in that situation to give a crack at. And yeah, I like it with the vanilla. I think it is my favourite way to have it. Obviously, being in a tea bag rather than loose tea like from T2 makes it a lot easier for me to make my morning tea out of that, just quickly with a tea bag rather than brewing up a whole pot. So that's one of the convenience I find with that. And yeah, so that's the Organics rooibos root vanilla. And I think I might have said 50 tea bags in that for a few bucks. It's a bargain. So you can check out their website. It's neridatea.com.au, and they got quite a bit of information on there. I've checked them out before. I'm going to get quite a few of their other teas. It's the only one of theirs I've tried so far, so I'm going to get quite a few others and I'll have them to share with you in the future. And then next up we have the Detox from Twinings. So this one again is quite a bit lighter in colour, and it's still quite a strong flavour though. So you really taste the fennel in it. I'm not a fan of licorice, which obviously fennel has quite a licorice flavour to it. But in the tea, I don't mind it. It's not too overpowering, I think, particularly with the other flavours running through it. Yeah, the lemongrass is a bit more subtle. It's sort of the finishing flavour, I think. It's sort of fennel first hit and then the lemongrass coming later on. And to be honest, the verbena isn't something I've ever tried in anything else. I don't know that flavour, but they're certainly the two that stand out. So I think maybe it's sort of a subtle throughout the rest of it. Now obviously it's called detox tea, so the idea is it's a bit of a clean out for your body. I originally started drinking that when I was still drinking quite a bit of beer, and I would use it as a detox after a big weekend or something. It would be what I drink, and I did find it was very refreshing, either when you're hungover or just lethargic after drinking. The detox tea is a good one, but yeah, I think maybe it's just generally good to flush your body out, bit of a refresh. And as I say though, quite a strong flavour. Now when you look at the two of these, this one you're getting 18 tea bags, this one's you're getting 50 tea bags, and I don't remember the exact price, but I'd say this one's a few dollars more expensive than this. So there is that real price difference. They are very different teas though. As I say, this is my morning tea, this is more of an evening tea for winding down at the end of a day. So they're sort of two teas I drink in different circumstances. And then the green rose, green tea does have the slightest amount of caffeine, but not much, especially compared to coffee and compared to black teas, and even more so compared to coffee. So it's only mild caffeine, but I do try to only have green tea as a morning up to lunchtime. So that's sort of, it's in the morning, but any occasion. Detox after drinking, or just as my drink in the evening before bed. And the rooibos is one that I more have of a morning as my first drink of the day. I do recommend all three of these teas. I like them. As I say, they're very different teas. I've picked three different ones and different brands for this first video, just to sort of show you a real range. In future videos, I might do sort of three similar ones and talk about the differences in those similar teas. But for this one, yeah, I really wanted that variety. Anyway, guys, so that's TeaV for today. I hope you've enjoyed it. This is going to be a really raw presentation. I'm not going to do any editing on it. I'm not doing any second takes. You're getting all my ums, buts and ahs and stuff ups throughout the video, but you're getting the real raw sense of what I think of these teas and how I go about tasting them when I use them. So as I said, I'm Ryan Trainer. I hope you're enjoying TeaV, and I'll see you in my next episode.